Pretty big moment for the fresh SR build. I'm a little nervous, but I think that's just natural. We're gonna see how it does. The bass tune that's on it's good enough just to cruise on the highway. I'm not gonna be doing any crazy pulls or anything yet. I am gonna dyno it at some point. I think after this trip, I'll have some more faith in the car. I double, triple checked everything as much as I could, but at some point you're just overthinking it, right? I just double checked the fluids, made sure there's no air pockets in the cooling system again, aired the tires up, gotta stop and get gas real quick. It's about a 130-mile round trip. Let's see how she does. Wish me luck. Well, first and foremost, I just want to say thanks for clicking on the video. This video basically is going to be me driving out to Simi Valley. I thought the time lapse was really cool. This was actually the first time I've ever taken video of me driving the car on the street. A couple of things that I noticed, just driving habits and then just watching so many cars pass me, I thought was funny. Yeah, anyway, so show the little journey out there. I set the camera up originally because I really did not know what was going to happen on this first long drive. I just wanted to tell a little bit of the backstory too, why this drive is just such a big deal for me. The car, I hadn't driven it very far up to this point since the engine rebuild. It was just around the neighborhood. I've been down the streets or whatever. I had a little bit of remote help on the tuning side to get it to where the air fuel ratio was in range where it needed to be and stuff like that. So I know I wasn't damaging the car by driving it, but yeah, I wanted the car to be out there and basically pull up in the 240 to the podcast. I just thought it would be cool. But yeah, so anyways, with this being the first drive, I mean, I packed all the tools, you know, a couple of things that were on my mind. It was like, this is the first time I ever built an engine from the bottom end, which kind of a big deal for me at least, because I've never been a technician by trade. I've always liked 240s. I've always been into 240s, into drifting, driving the cars and kind of working on the, doing body work on them here and there, but I've never been like 100% mechanically sound with everything. So I kind of took a leap of faith to go that far into the engine this time. I mean, I've done like motor swaps and stuff like that, but I've never been into the technical side of like inside of the motor with the piston rings and all that stuff. So did a ton of research and I learned a lot. And I don't know, it's just, you have this like thought in the back of your head. I don't know, I think it probably happens to most people that are inexperienced with things, but I just had the doubt in my head that, I'm going to do all this, I'm going to spend all this money and it's not going to pan out, or it's going to, something's going to go wrong, or there's going to be a really slight oversight on something big. But yeah, I mean, like I said in the beginning of the video, when I was like trying to get it ready to drive it, you can only think so much about it until you're overthinking, right? You just got to send it at some point. So yeah, so basically that. And the only other thing really is that the car had been sitting. I did a Vegas drift event in 2022, or it was the summer of 2022. So the car had been sitting for about a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years before it really went on a long drive. And before I did the Vegas drift event, it had been sitting for at least 10 months or so, maybe almost a year. So the chassis just had been sitting for a long time, and so that was the other thing, you got to do a nut and bolt check and make sure all the fuel lines back by the tank aren't rotted and stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Just pulling up to Chuck's house here. Let's see if I can get a podcast done. I've never done a podcast before, so I'm excited to do that too. And I don't know, it's just it's all a learning experience and a way to grow, right? Thanks for listening to me. Appreciate you checking the video out. Yeah, let's do the podcast. I love that little car. Made it out here, no issues at all. Super stoked. We're gonna do a podcast with Chuck real quick. So the podcast was nowhere near as tough as I thought it was going to be. I don't know. I've never really been a big speaker or public speaker or what have you, but I want to say thanks to Chuck for letting me on the podcast and inviting me over. Shout out to Chris for introducing me to Chuck. Those are some great dudes over there. Looking forward to spending more time with those guys and getting out to the events. We'll see what's next for the 240. So thanks for checking it out, and we'll talk to you soon.